Hello, this is I'm gonna talk today about uh, donation for Linux. This is a kind of an important topic, not a sexy topic, and I wanna talk about a few things. I wanna talk that this is I'm not asking anyone to donate money. There'll be no link here in this video for anyone to donate money through this video. But I'm talking here about the strategy. I'm gonna talk about two things: why we need to donate for Linux, and some strategies about donating to Linux that I've been implementing. Okay, so donating. Why donate? Keep your operating system going. For example, I have uh, two machines, this one that I'm filming on, and another machine, two large laptops that I love so much, and both of them running Debian. And I've been using Debian on one of them for 2 years, uh, and uh, and the other one for maybe 8 months. They were both uh, Windows machines. One was Windows 10 and one was Windows 11, and I switched them to Debian. Never had a crash, a blue screen, or anything like that. I also have an MX Linux that run on a slightly older machine, and I actually recently put it on a very good uh, uh, think Lavino X230 machine, which is a really good machine, older machine, but really good machine with a very good CPU. Uh, Yet I have to test that out, how it's going. I never really used it that much after I installed it. But these are examples of Linux. I also had I installed MX Linux on a machine that was for my friend brother. I have a Linux who I installed for a friend of mine that run its machine. I think it's a Fedora. Uh, I have a very old machine that run two old machines that one of them run NTX and one of them run Lens FreezeFire, which I might change soon. But so I have so many uh, computers that run Linux. Indeed, I think I only have two computers that have Windows on them. One of them is actually dual boot with Ubuntu. So Linux keep our machines running. Imagine if I how much money I have to pay if I wanna go back to Windows on all these machines, even if Windows allow you to do so, because some of those machines are older. So saving money. So I remember I'm gonna start by saying this. I went to a small school after the COVID to change career. I really never really changed career. Well, I web develop a little bit, but I learned about computers during that time, and and I remember I bought two old machines, which I still have, and I think both of them were for a total of maybe $50 with shipping and everything. I of course I added a little bit money into them to set them up, and I think I add like S- SSD on one of them. I added memory on a few of them, but nevertheless, when I those machines were completely dead, And when I put Linux on them, they came to life in many ways. They are indeed, at that time, I just bought, like a year before that, I bought a very brand new machine, computer, and I thought to myself, oh, geez, I am an idiot, you know. This laptop I have, the Windows laptop, suck compared to these old machines. And perhaps maybe I wasn't correct 100% because it sucked because it have a very Windows 11 that's hogging its resources. Nevertheless, so imagine the money I saved myself if I knew about Linux before. I knew a little bit about Linux, but if I knew how to use Linux, if I, like it wasn't just a concept, and even at that time, there was not even videos talking about Linux. So, that was, and now I have many machines that I own and many machines that I fix from friends and family that are running Linux. And imagine how much I have to pay for each Windows license. So that is an important reason why you need to make a donation. Finally, I want to talk about freedom. Now, if you live in the North America like me, or if you live in Europe perhaps, you know that we were once were people who were very proud of our freedoms. But sadly and gradually, this has been going on, and it seems to be a trend that is uh, uh, getting worse and getting stronger for us to lose our freedom. And one way to lose your freedom is when you have an operating system uh, used to monitor your activities. Uh, in you know Whether it is a government that is not happy with your stand, or whether it is a company that want to steal your data, it's really not good for us to 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 deal with that. Recently, for example, anyone into web development like I am I'm a little bit into it, know that there's a struggle for website owners these days as businesses, or as small businesses, to deal with uh, uh, search engines, AI, especially the Chat GTP or the Gemini, where they will take your information and summarize it out of your website and summarize it to the consumer. This way, no, you don't get traffic on your site, therefore, you render your business obsolete, and this is a bad idea for freedom, because if you in the when in very soon you end up with only sponsored websites that and therefore those sponsored websites have to do the bidding of the sponsors, and that could be journalistic websites, for example, but it also could be educational websites, for example. uh, I have When I was in school, I we got introduced when I think I remember took a database um, to a website called Tech on the Net. Tech on the Net is a wonderful website that have many coding information about the different codes for for both CQL and HTML and JavaScript and even C. So But that website, I imagine now, it's a dead website because it didn't ask money from users. It didn't hide its information behind the paywall. So, and now, for example, you can ask, and you can ask, and you don't have to visit. So freedom is. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent here, but freedom is more is a very wide concept, and freedom of your operating system is one of these days on the modern time. This is your eyes and your ears. This is where your brain think, because most of us these days use a computer. You want to apply for a job, a computer. I remember when I went to the second time I went to a college, I went online. I didn't see an instructor, um, so this is your eyes and your ears. Whatever document you write, if it's in the cloud, if it's owned by Google, if it's owned by Microsoft, even if you delete that one, they still own it. And even if you want it, they can still delete it. So that, take that in mind. So so why you need to donate? You need to keep those free and open source operating system going. Save you money, because as long as you have an alternative, at least for us who know about Linux and FreeBSD and all this, we can choose to save ourselves money and save our friends, as you know, and your freedom, because a computer is more than a piece of equipment. Computer is your thoughts these days, your eyes, your ears, and your tool to navigate through information around the web. So, uh, so just I wanna say that, and we can move on to something less. Uh, Maybe we notch it down a little bit. So I'm gonna talk about my strategies. Those are my strategies when I donate. I don't. I'm not a wealthy man, so I don't donate hundreds of thousands of dollars. I am like most of anyone working person might donate $20, maybe $100 if a cause is very important. Uh, you know, mostly $5, whatever it is. Whatever I can. So before I start, donate only out of the excess money you have, not all the excess money you have. So you need to take care of yourself and family first. But let's go on and talk about strategies for donations. Donate as a payment. For example, I have Debian, and this year I only made one little tiny donation for Debian, but it was I thought about it as a payment, because I have this machine, the two machines of Debian. I actually am thinking even adding another machine as Debian, and I'm so happy with them. I rely on them. I do most of my work on them, and at my 9 to 5 job, for example, I have a Windows that my company owned, the company I work for owned, and it's a nightmare, compared to a Linux, glitch and whatever. Even though that computer is actually very strong, very to have like 4 core, to have like it's a really good computer. I think 4 gigahertz. When I looked it up, it's a very strong computer, but it is uh, you have the operating system, the Windows, and you have the networking stuff that the company have on top of it, the layer of security, and all this, and the equivalent of the OneDrive. They have a OneDrive too on it, but it also have the equivalent of the OneDrive that is, what L or Z, whatever what each company call it different. file where you go, where we share the information. So that put a strain on that computer. Now every time I open it, I said to myself, "Geez, if that was an MX Linux, I think I don't have to search for the document for like wait for that document to open for the 20 minutes, you know." So nevertheless, so I use this as a payment. I'm happy with the operating system. I I love the operating system, and I will say I wanna help that operating system. For example, Debian. Go back to Debian. It's a free and open source. It's not tied to a company. It's many smart young researchers that work on that project around the globe, but they have facilities, they have internet they have to pay for, they have whatever. So my donation, your donation, and others will help pay the bill. Maybe we don't have the brain, but we can definitely help and contribute and keep it going. So, and I actually want to add, I donate like for the distro. I donate like for two distros a year or something like that. I won't go out of my way. If I was rich, I will do more, But I think this year I did Debian and Zorin. Maybe if we still alive, for War 3 doesn't happen. Hopefully, I'm gonna actually do Debian again next year, and might do MX Linux or NTX. So okay, donate for a cause. Also, another way to donate is for a cause. For example, the other Linux donation I did this year was I think an entity that was funded by MIT, and it was defunded, and it was that entity worked on the Linux kernel and all this, and it was there was a fundraiser for it. But nevertheless, I looked it up when I heard about and I researched it for a while before I made my donation, and I'm happy that they reached their goal. And so that was a cause, that was an urgent cause, and that was an important cause because we need to have, because Linux built on each other. You have the core Linux kernel, you have the distributions, and you have, of course, the support for the distributions on top of that, or the distribution on top of distributions. So this is how the Linux system work, and I thought a cause like this is too important, and I actually went out of my way. Maybe I did too much, but I'm glad that myself and whatever little I can provide and others like me uh, have helped, you know, and so on and so forth. So if you find a special cause, go for and donate. Uh, I'm gonna talk about the system of donating. One-time donation or easily cancelled donation. I find what's one of the most annoying thing is donating to an entity that doesn't give you the option or an easy option to cancel. I remember I donated to Free Code Camp, for example, and this is a good service. They provide good service for training people, whether they are college students or it's you please go check them out if you are into learning how to code. They provide the curriculum. I mean, they say they provide even certificates. I won't take it that serious. Like it's just a practice, to help you code. And I donated for them to them for a few months, yeah, less than a year, I think. But one of the things that when like I wanted to stop the donation, I had to go through email and and so on and so forth to stop it. And I felt this is not a very cool. I didn't feel good going to have to like go through hoops to donate. So if I want to donate, I'll either find an easily canceled donation system if that entity have it, or if a one-time donation. The third thing I want to talk about that I didn't write here is your donation method. For example, even if you either you have, don't use your bank, your actual bank account and all this, just in case if it get hacked. Even if the, you can do, maybe you can do something like PayPal, I guess, but even with that, you have to be careful. You can, if you just gonna do uh, one few donations a year, I'll buy a prepaid Visa or whatever, and I'll do that through them. To maybe I'm old guy and I think like an old man, so, but that's another thing. But those are my strategies. I'm not saying I'm not an expert on strategies to donate. Just make sure the entity, the distro you wanna donate to is real. The entity is real. Don't donate because of a influencer or somebody that give you a link to donate. If you see this video that have a donating link under it, do not donate. That will be probably stolen video. So just do the right thing and donate because you want to donate, and donate because you need to donate. And that's what we need. I want those Linux distro to continue. They provide amazing services. Uh, uh, I will give a final thing. I'm gonna give an example. I have uh, refurbished a machine, gave it to my friend who gave it to her brother. Was an older individual who lived on a limited income. That machine ran very good. It ran Linux, and it ran very good, like MX Linux, I believe. And it ran really good, and it's safe, secure. He doesn't have. He's retired. He doesn't have to. You know. He's at home. He need entertainment. He need to connect with friends and family. His little computer now can do that, while his old computer, the Pentium 2, couldn't. So uh, uh, Linux is important. Linux change helping others. If you are a college student and you are on unlimited income, don't take extra loans to buy a new computer. Maybe put an extra RAM and put a Linux on your machine. If you are the person in between jobs, or the person who only can afford a used computer, just put a Linux on it. This way, don't accept the operating system from a used, because you don't know what's on that used computer. You know. Save yourself money. Linux save us money and give us the freedom to still compute and still use the internet uh, without paying a toll. So that's my 2 cents, and I hope your donation for Linux will come. Will will come soon. I hope you guys have a great day.